I took a chance this season and picked up a Plains archery tag off the Colorado leftover list. I really wanted to archery hunt more often, but I didn't want to conflict with my elk season. I really enjoy archery elk hunting. We took one day before the season was open to go scout the area, and I was pretty pleased with what we found. The turkeys had it all tore up, and we found one nice scrape line. I hung a tree stand at one end of the property and scouted some spots at the other end for other wind directions. With mule deer and whitetail in the area, I wanted a glass, but opening morning, it was totally foggy. I decided to sit in the stand, and at 6:53, the first whitetail came in. Half an hour later, there was a group of mule deer does with a little buck following them. I saw one bigger whitetail buck, but he was well out of range. And then this smaller whitetail buck came through. My big camera died, so I had to switch to using my phone. I don't know if this was the same group of mule deer I had seen earlier, but they had come from the same direction, so it seemed unlikely. However, the little buck was rutting these guys hard and just driving them in circles around that tree you see out there. It was pretty entertaining to watch, but none of these were going to be deer I was going to shoot. A little mule deer button buck came through, and he stopped right in my tracks and nosed around. I must have left some sort of scent behind when I walked through. You'll notice all these deer are behind me. I think the wind direction was keeping them from walking in front, so I decided I was going to get out of the stand. The night before, some weather had moved through, and the ground was very damp. This would make for good stalking conditions, and I would still hunt my way, all the way until I found I was in a place where I felt the wind was in my favor. I hated leaving a spot where there were deer moving through, but I just didn't see how I could get the wind in my favor here. Immediately upon leaving the stand, I ran into a medium-sized whitetail buck, still not quite big enough. Then this guy appeared in front of me, and I thought I had the camera on, but apparently not. I didn't get good video of him until he was already straight downwind from me, but this guy definitely needed to grow up a little bit. He should have been gone long before this point. I'm only 12 yards away, and finally he decides something isn't right here, and turns around to leave. That was fine with me. He didn't run away, so he wasn't going to spook anything out of there, and he'd live to see another day. I got back to moving, and soon I spotted a coyote on the edge of a field. It saw me, and then I saw the buck that was standing 30 yards behind it. Soon, a group of turkeys was in my path. I couldn't get past them without spooking them, but I was worried that I would spook deer at the same time. Eventually, I watched a coyote come up and stalk the turkeys. There's a lot more turkeys here than it looks like in the video. They finally move off, and I'm able to slip past them, but I run into yet another group of turkeys. I watched these guys for a little bit and tried to slip past, but there was a lot more eyes there than I was expecting, and I busted them out of there. I finally got to a point where I thought the wind would be in my favor if deer were to move along the corridor. I built this little blind to try to give myself some cover. You may notice it's been less than 10 minutes since I took the photos of the blind. Well, what had happened is I sat down and I didn't even have any of my gear ready yet. I took a look over my left shoulder and there was a nice 10-point whitetail standing there, working his way straight to me. Unfortunately, he was almost directly downwind, and he was in the wide open. I had no way to get a shot at him. When he hit my wind, he turned around and went to the turkeys and pushed them straight in front of me. I had taken a little bit of a nap since I'd been up since 4 a.m., but I couldn't help but take some video of this turkey, which was only about 15 yards in front of me. It heard me make that noise and sounded the alarm. 10 minutes later, yet another group of turkeys had my attention. They had moved into almost the same spot. While watching the turkeys, I heard a noise off to my right. Naturally, this is when I'm futzing with my camera, and I look, and there's a buck standing just over 30 yards away next to a bush. I decide I should put the camera down when I see his antlers. I wish I could have gotten some sort of footage, but he was moving towards me, and at 16 yards, I took the shot. I apologize for the blood on the deer, but the broadhead did its job. He's a great buck, nice 8-point whitetail. He's got 2 broken tines, but that's just some character. I couldn't be more happy with my Colorado buck this year. It was an awesome hunt even though it was only 7 hours. Dragging this deer out just wasn't going to work. I had to go back and get my frame pack and quarter him up. It was a great mile back to the car.